Hello, everyone. I'm excited to talk about rest. Now, how many times do we think, I'm so tired, I can't move, or I didn't sleep well, or I just can't do another assignment, I can't do another task, I can't respond to my child because I'm just too tired. We've all been there. We've all been very depleted at times. We live in such a fast-paced, busy culture. And there's so much to do, so much to know about, so much to accomplish. Maybe you have many goals and dreams, and you get to do that because you live in a place and in a country where we have a lot of access to our dreams and we can go after them. And so we end up piling on more and more and more. Whew. Or our devices don't let us rest because there's the constant dinging and notifications and all the things that we want to keep up with. So how do we find rest? And I was so intrigued by this concept that there's more than one way to rest. There's more than one kind of rest. So I'm excited to share some ideas that were put forth by Dr. Saundra Dalton-Smith. She's an internal medicine doctor, and she wrote a book called Sacred Rest. Recover your life, renew your energy, restore your sanity. And she'd had one of those times too where she had an all-time low in her well-being. And she thought, I have everything I've ever wanted. I'm a doctor, I'm successful, I have a family, I have this beautiful home. But she found herself so exhausted that she was lying on the floor in her home, lying on the carpet and just looking around and realizing that she was exhausted. She was overspent. And she started to do some research on rest and was curious, I think, to see how she could help her patients as well in understanding rest. So, beautiful book. I recommend it. So here are the 7 types of rest that she talks about in her book. Number 1 is probably the first thing you might have thought about: physical rest. Physical rest. Our bodies are working for us all the time. Our bodies don't stop. Even when we're sleeping, there's all kinds of things happening. When you're asleep, your short-term memory gets filed away into long-term storage. Your body is repairing, your brain is repairing. There's so much happening. There's activity still when we're sleeping. So even when we're asleep, we're still busy. We're still active. So physical rest is probably the number 1 thing that we will go to when we think of what rest means. It means to be sedentary, to lie down, be flat, eyes closed. It's quiet. Nobody's bothering you. Nobody's asking for cookies. Nobody's asking for milk. Nobody's telling you that their sister breathed on them, right? Oh, and we want that rest. Well, it's interesting. She talks about how rest is not just stopping activity, but physical rest can also be adding in activity that is restorative to you. So this could look like going for a walk, going for a stroll in the woods. I got to do that a couple days ago with my husband. It was just green and glowing and vibrant, so pretty. The air was cool and it wasn't humid. It was just wonderful. To me, that was physical rest, where I was taking a break from pressure, from busyness, from deadlines I've got and things I need to get done. And I was just enjoying being out in the woods on this trail, walking with my husband. Now that is physical rest. Even though my body was still expending energy, it was restorative because I wasn't in a rush. I wasn't under pressure. I was just enjoying the moment. And my physical body was getting cared for by walking, by looking around, by enjoying the sounds and the smells of nature and seeing animals scampering around. I only want to see squirrels scampering and deer. I don't want to see any snakes. And they don't scamper, but they're scary enough to me. I don't want to see snakes. And we come across snakes too often. But just thinking about how you're active in a way that fulfills your need for activity. Our bodies are designed to need to move, and our systems are depending on us to have a healthy pace that can get things flowing and moving. And remember, all of our systems are connected in some way, so everything benefits from that physical activity, even though it sounds like more work. But when you take on physical activity that is non-stress inducing, that actually creates physical rest. I also believe in lying in a hammock, taking some rest that way, or taking an actual nap in the middle of the day. Boy, that's just golden for me if I can make that happen. But just noticing what kind of signals our bodies are giving us. What kind of rest do we need? If you're feeling sluggish, you probably really do need to lie down and let your body relax and rest. If you're feeling really anxious, it might be that you need to move and get some of that nervous energy out. And going for a restorative walk can be so healthy for you. So the second type of rest is called mental rest that she talks about. She said, "Oh man, when you know your mental faculties have been overworked, overused, you can't turn off your brain when you lie down to go to sleep. You're kind of ruminating about the day. You just can't stop rehashing conversations or how well did I do in that presentation, or what else do I need to do tomorrow? If I don't get it done, this is going to happen." Oh boy, our mind can't stop, and we need mental rest. It can also look like an inability to focus or complete a task. And so she talks about our minds need to have a break from the intense focus, trying to accomplish a task, always being at work and on call and figuring things out. A mental rest can help to slow down the thinking process and just let things get into a slow and gentle rhythm, like meditation, for example. Meditation helps you to start to declutter the thinking, clear it all out, get the worry to subside, get that stress hormone, cortisol, to flow out and be relieved from that. Something she talked about is time blocking. So often when we're not getting the mental rest that we need, we have a really hard time focusing. We feel very chaotic. There's such a big task list. I don't know where to start. A mental rest can look like time blocking, where you coordinate your day, you schedule out your tasks, and it's no longer a big jumble of chaos in your mind, but it's now orderly. It's got a time frame for it. It has a specific appointment to get that thing done. That can actually be restful for you mentally. The third kind of rest is emotional rest. So emotional rest, she said, is not just venting, dumping on someone all of your worries and your thoughts and just unburdening that way. She said emotional rest is being able to express an event that took place, something that caused you some distress, some alarm, some discomfort. Being able to express the event and how it impacted you, and sharing this with someone that you care about and you feel cared by. So I found that to be really important, that when you're expressing yourself, you're not necessarily just talking about the emotions, you're talking about the event and how it impacted you. And not just, I'm so mad and everybody's bad and wrong and stupid. That's not going to provide that emotional rest that you need. So talking about the event, this is what happened, this is how it impacted me, and being able to share that with someone who cares about you, that can bring emotional relief and emotional rest. And so Dr. Saundra also said that we can do that through journaling. We can do it through creative outlets, creating something new, creating a song, creating music, creating art, doodling, sketching, creating something with that energy can bring emotional rest. The fourth kind of rest that she talks about in her book is spiritual rest. This can create a sense of belonging to something bigger than yourself, a cause, a purpose of some kind that you feel like you have something to contribute. You have a part to play. And you might find that by being actively involved in a church or being a volunteer in some sort of nonprofit or an organization, um, and some special cause that you feel very strongly about, that can bring spiritual rest because it satisfies that need to belong to something important, something bigger than you, and you have connection with other people in the meantime. You're giving back to the greater good. That can bring a sense of spiritual rest. There's a fulfillment. It just feels good. It feels good. I love being involved in my community. I love to be involved with several different nonprofits and organizations and to give of my time, give of my talents, and show my support to other people. That is very restorative to me. So that resonated with me as well. And I'm also very active in my church. I love that. I love to have my faith as a main part of my life. And it does bring rest when I can tap into that, set everything aside, and just really tap into my spiritual beliefs and my faith and puts everything in perspective. I can kind of stop making little molehills into mountains, but kind of step back and see the bigger picture. And it does bring that rest. Number 5 is social rest. Some of you might be married to an introvert. Some of you might be an introvert. And to say social rest, I love that idea. Let me just get away from everybody. Maybe I'm going to like buy an island and live all alone with just my family. And I don't have to worry about interacting with people and trying to make small talk in group settings and put on a happy face when I'm not. That kind of thing can be so terrifying and so draining. And we just think, oh, good, social rest means I get to be alone and away from everybody. Social rest can mean that. It can be a part of restoring you and increasing your resilience by taking a break from everybody. And it's just quiet and no one's asking you questions. You don't have to perform in any sort of way. However, Dr. Saundra says that social rest includes, and I think this is really important, being around people who fill you up. People who listen to you, who enjoy you, who are excited to see you, that when you walk in the room, their smile lights up on their face and they want to know about you and they want to spend that time with you. That can bring social rest. It's nurturing and nourishing for your soul when you can have this give and take with someone and it doesn't feel like all I do is give to that person. They just complain the whole time and I just have to listen. It's exhausting and draining. So what we're talking about is someone who fills back, pours back into you and helps you to feel connected and cared about. So social rest can involve being around people. But it's the type of person, right? The type of relationship that you have with them that will create social rest. Even when you're not alone, you can be with other people to get social rest. Number 6 is sensory rest. My goodness, we just have everything beeping and bopping and alerting and chiming and dinging and humming, and we just don't get a rest from sensory intake, do we? It's just constantly around us. And something that she points out is that our brains are really good at filtering out background noise that in a while you won't notice that the refrigerator hums or that maybe in your office there's a little spurt of an air freshener and you hear that every 5 minutes or whatever. But your brain is really good at tuning things out that are not important to you. However, it's working constantly to filter noises out. So you're not going to feel rest. Even if you think you're tuning things out and you don't really notice and you're just getting to work and you're just going to do your thing, your brain is still busy kind of blocking that out, blocking that out. That's not important. That's not important. It still can create a feeling of unrest, right? When there's a lot of sensory going on, a lot of sensory input. So she talks about how you can look for ways to diminish and cut down on the buzzes, the dings, the little sounds. and that can help to give you a sensory rest. So it might be that you like having this air freshener thingy, but maybe take it out and put it in a different room where you're not going to hear it so much. Or while you're needing to focus on something, just pull it out altogether. And notice what kind of background sounds are around, and maybe reposition yourself. And she said even like the noise cancellation headphones, that can be really helpful when you need to just tune out people, give your brain some time to relax and get that rest that you need, right? She also recommends, when it comes to sensory overload, to take time to notice what gives you a sensory pleasure. It might be a type of fabric that touching it, sitting on it, laying on it is just really comforting. Maybe you have a special favorite blanket that's just, ooh, so soft, and you just can just rub around on that with your face. It just feels so good, and cuddle up in that. That might be a sensory kind of rest. Here's a texture, something that you're experiencing in your skin that makes you feel good. That can be sensory rest. Smelling a scent that you just really love, or tasting something that just brings a lot of pleasure and delight to you. Notice how your senses, either tuning things out can bring rest, or bringing in the things that bring delight can also create rest. Okay, so the last one she talks about is creative rest. And she said this is different from emotional rest, where you're creating something new. You're creating an art piece, you're painting a painting, you're maybe creating a song on your guitar, you're singing along, and you're creating something. That's an emotional outlet, emotional release. But she said creative rest means to take a break from creating something and enjoying something that's already there. Like driving out to a hillside where you can see a beautiful sunset. Something you're not having to work to create, but you can just enjoy it. So turning on some beautiful music, that can be a creative rest. You didn't have to make it. You can just enjoy it. So she talks about that, allowing things that are already there to uplift you and satisfy that natural desire to create, but just enjoying it, and getting into the awe and the delight. And that can be a form of creative rest. So those are the 7 things from Dr. Saundra Dalton-Smith's book called Sacred Rest: Recover Your Life, Renew Your Energy, Restore Your Sanity. Does anything resonate with you? A kind of rest that you're feeling like, oh yeah, I've been neglecting that kind of rest. That sounds so nice. I really need that. As a life coach, my name is Michelle Cox, and I want to encourage you as a life coach. This is when you get to decide how you're going to live your life. This is what I do for my job. I help people to decide and determine and illustrate and make very detailed and specific to themselves. What kind of life do I want? What kind of life do I want to live? Am I going to allow myself these kinds of rest? Or am I just going to be in a rat race all day long every day, and I'm grouchy and snappy and snippy at people? I'm going to feel awful. I'm going to get sick more easily. I'm going to feel unfulfilled. When you choose how you're going to take care of your body and the functions that are just natural there in your body, all the different functions, all the different systems, when you become intentional about how you're going to take care of yourself, allowing yourself periods of rest, you will live the life that you've always dreamed of. And your circumstances don't need to change very much. It's actually much more about how you feel in your body that determines how satisfied you feel, how content, how safe in your nervous system you are. So I'm going to do a little demonstration today. I haven't used my thought cycle diagram for a little bit, so I wanted to use it today because I wanted to talk about, what are the barriers to resting? These different kinds: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, sensory, and creative rest that we've just talked about. I've just described. What are the barriers? What are we thinking? What are beliefs that we have, maybe subconsciously, that prevent us from resting, from taking a break, from filling our lives in meaningful ways that are restorative and enhance our resilience? What are the barriers? And I think that the number one thing is our thinking, our belief about rest. What are we thinking about it? What do we believe about it? But before we're going to really dive into what the thought process might be that you're carrying or a subconscious belief, I want to look at the rest of this model first. So first of all, we have the thought cycle diagram, and this is a powerful way to illustrate all the components of your internal experience. So I'm going to put up here in the cloud an event, quote, or a circumstance, something that exists in the world that we're having thoughts about, we're having a relationship with in some way. And I'm going to talk about rest. So let me put that up here. Rest. And our first time through this cycle, we're going to see how maybe some limiting beliefs are hampering our ability to rest and maybe preventing us from prioritizing our own well-being. So let's look at this thing from the end. Usually I go around this way, starting with the thought, but I want to uncover that thought. I want you to uncover your own thinking, because as I do this demonstration, you are going to start seeing yourself in this picture, and you're going to start to see, oh yeah, that's what I do. Oh yeah, that's how I feel. Oh yeah, that's the result I'm living with. And then you'll be able to uncover your own thinking and believing that is creating it for you personally. Okay, so wherever you're watching this, on Facebook or on YouTube, you are going to have a chance to really make this a personal thing and learn about this process, because to me, it's powerful. And I love doing this work with people and helping them to see the power that they have to make a beautiful life and to be intentional about how they live it. You get one life. Let's make the most of it. Let's not just be workhorses all the time. Okay, so rest. We're going to get to the thought last. But if you're not resting, because this is the first time through, is always kind of like, oh, what's going wrong in my life right now? Or could be better. So the result, if I'm not resting, my result is going to be, I feel worn out, right? And maybe you feel unfulfilled. Okay. And maybe relationships are strained. Okay. Because a body that's not resting is going to be holding within itself a nervous system that doesn't feel very safe. If I am depleted, my nervous system can't possibly feel wonderful and safe. I'm going to be in fight mode or flight mode or freeze or something if I'm not caring for myself. My body is going to feel out of alignment, right? And so there's a feeling of danger, something's not right, and so my nervous system is going to be impacted. That's just guaranteed. So if I'm worn out, unfulfilled, relationships are strained, this is the result I'm living with. What type of behavior do you think is going to create that result? If I'm worn out, I'm probably overworking, right? I'm working too hard. I'm not resting. And probably not getting to have recreation. Okay. If I'm feeling unfulfilled, I'm doing a lot of busy work. I'm not really doing much that's actually very meaningful to me. Just doing a lot of busy work tasks. Okay, and if my relationships are strained, what kind of behavior is going to cause that? Maybe, let's see, let me change that a little bit. Maybe my family members seem like a bother, right? um, they're interrupting me and I let them know it. I complain about it. Because if I'm so focused on busy work, I don't have time for my kids. I don't have time for anybody. I've got to get this busy work done and I'm just working, 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 working. I'm not resting. Then I'm not going to make time to relax and to enjoy some downtime with my kids and my husband. So that's the behavior pattern that's probably going to create this kind of result. So if I'm behaving this way, what do you think that my emotions might be? How might I be feeling if I'm so like I'm working so much, I'm not resting, I'm just getting a lot of busy work done, I'm not doing anything really meaningful, or I'm making my work be more important than my family or taking care of my body. So my emotional state is probably I'm in a lot of stress, right? And if my relationships are strained, maybe I'm also kind of irritable and I'm irritated by them. Maybe I'm annoyed by the distractions, the interruptions, and okay, so let's get some thoughts here or some emotions here. I might be irritable. Maybe I'm a little frantic, just stressed, and I'm gonna say frantic, chaotic. Okay. And notice how you feel in your body when you're feeling stress and anxiety and you're feeling that kind of chaos and everything just feels like it's piling up. It's really overwhelming, right? So our nervous system state might be fight mode. That's what adds to the irritability. Or if we want to get away from it, then we're in flight mode. And we can be a mix of nervous system states. We can be a mixture. So now we're kind of working backwards. This is our relationship with rest. What is the thinking or the believing that's happening? What is the thought process? Maybe the subconscious belief about rest that is creating this feeling of stress, of anxiety, of chaos kind of within ourselves. We feel very unstable, right? We're just like, oh, I can't even think. I can't figure out what I've got to do next. I'm just so overwhelmed. And then I'm working really hard and I'm not resting. I'm not taking time for recreation with my family. They become a problem. They're distracting and interrupting. And so then I'm worn out, unfulfilled, and my relationships are strained. My kids are like, Mom, you never spend time with me. Yeah. If I'm so focused on behaving this way, yeah, they're going to feel that. They feel a little bit neglected. So, what is my thought about rest that could be impacting and creating this whole cycle? What's my idea about rest? What is it for you? When you notice that you are overworking and you just can't stop to rest and do anything restorative, what are your thoughts about that? And we're all going to be a little bit different. So this is where it becomes very personal. And you can think, if I were filling this out, I would put it this way. This is how I would fill it out. Every person is going to be unique. So I'm talking a little bit from my own perspective and my own experience. Yeah, this is exactly what I've thought before. I don't get to rest. I'm a workhorse. I don't rest. I just work and work and work and work. And this is what I was saying when I was a stay-at-home mom. I'm a mom of six, and I had, I think, four kids at the time. And I just remember thinking, all I do is take care of kids all day long. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I don't rest. No, that's for babies and toddlers and little kids. They get to rest. I don't rest. I'm just working. I'm cleaning, I'm cooking, I'm taking kids here and there. Okay. So I had this belief in my head that I don't get to rest. That's not for me. So I'm going to put that up here. Okay, so while I lived with that idea, And at the time, a stay-home mom, but I also had an Etsy shop and I was sewing and I was making all kinds of cute and wonderful things for people and shipping them all over the country. And so, yeah, boy, I was working as much as I could when kids were napping or get the kids to bed. And then I would go back to my sewing room and I'd spend another 2 or 3 hours there. And then I didn't really hang out with my husband as much. So, I was neglecting him at that time because I was so focused on all my orders. And I've got a, I had an order for like 150 golden satin capes for a university marching band. Yeah, that was a big order. And but do I see that money anymore? No, it's gone, long gone. That was 15 years ago. I think I helped pay off our van a little faster. But I just think, what is the cost of not resting? What is the cost? Now, 15 years later, I look back and I say, I wish I would have spent more time with my kids. I wish that we would have played more. And we did. I took them to the park and we played a lot. And I read a lot of books. Reading was my favorite way to calm things down. But I just want you to think about that. 15 years from now, the busy load you have right now, is it going to have been worth it? And I don't have major regrets. I wasn't like seriously neglectful, but I think, yeah, that would have been nice to have set that aside and maybe not had that little business or had managed my time better so that I could just really focus on my kids and then focus on my husband and, create a different route. But the point being that whatever you're thinking, whatever your belief is about rest, I'm not allowed to rest. You won't. You won't rest. You'll keep not resting. And then your body can be affected and could be impacted negatively. Because our systems are connected, whatever we're thinking creates signals into our body. The stress hormone in particular, it can affect your heart, it can affect your digestion, it can affect your vision, your hearing, your hair, your skin. Sure, all kinds of things are impacted in our body when we're overworked, we're overstressed, and we don't take time to restore and rest. So let's look at this. What happens if I change the way I think about rest? But what's fun about it is that this rings true with the cognitive behavioral concept of life coaching and counseling and therapy, a lot of different modes of helping people use this model of how your thinking impacts how you feel and then creates that influences how you behave, and then you wind up with a result. So it can be very helpful when trying to make adjustments in your life to see what's the result I actually want. How do I really want to show up in the world and experience life and 15 years later look back and say, yeah, that was pretty great. What a great life. I'm so glad I did it that way. So that's what we're going for, right? Is to think of ourselves down the road, looking back to us now saying, oh man, what a good time that was. I took good care of myself. I really focused on relationships and we had this meaningful time and I just put things in a better balance. I honored my body. I took care of myself. That was so good. I'm glad that I did that. So if that's what we want to be saying 15 years from now, looking back to us now, you get to decide, you get to choose. You have agency to choose how you're going to live your life. It's up to you. So thinking about the result, when it comes to rest, what is the result that you want? You want to feel fulfilled. You want to feel well. Wellness is not just that you don't have a fever or a sore throat. Wellness is also your brain is functioning, you're able to think, you're able to plan ahead, you're able to coordinate things and schedule things well and plan it out. Wellness is also the thinking part of it. and how you're able to just kind of conduct your life, that it feels like it feels doable. It feels good. It feels doable. So there's this being fulfilled, like a wellness, and relationships are strong. Okay. Oh, what a lovely life. Let's make that. Let's create that together. So this is what we want to say. This is how my life is. It feels good. So how am I going to need to behave in order to create that result? Okay, there's got to be planning, intention. Um, so there's a balance with work and play or rest, right? You're making time for it. So you're planning your time for rest. You're planning your time for work. You're planning for time with family, with friends. Um, there's an emphasis on your relationships. So you have meaningful time together. Okay, so what kind of emotional state would I need to be in to come into the world and make time for my family, make time for friends, get my work done, also have time for rest? These 7 kinds of rest, I'm going to name them off again real quick: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, sensory, creative. 7 types of rest to enhance our resilience. I'm making time for it. I'm going to make time for it. I'm going to make time in the mornings. I go for a walk, or I do like a dumbbell weightlifting um, workout. I like to do that. It's Has Fit on YouTube. I really enjoy them. I'm going to make time to go outside, enjoy the sunlight. I'm going to make time to lie down if I feel it. I need a rest. That kind of physical rest. I need to slow down, take a nap, or just close my eyes for a minute. Making time for that, eating healthy food, drinking water, taking time to take care of your body, being intentional about all the little facets. It's going to make all the difference. It's going to create in you a sense of wellness. You're going to have that wellness going on. So what are my emotional state to be like this? I'm not going to be chaotic and frantic anymore, right? I'm going to have a sense of clarity. I'm going to feel confident. I know what I'm doing. And if I pause on work so that I can do some other kind of rest, some kind of rest, it's going to be okay. I'm not fatalistic about rest, right? It's going to be okay. So I'm going to be confident. I'll probably feel more peaceful when it comes to rest. Yeah. So then what is my thought going to be? My belief about rest? If I'm going to feel like I've got clarity, I'm confident, I'm feeling peaceful, rest doesn't seem threatening. Taking a break is not a sign of weakness. And maybe that's a subconscious thought you have, that resting must be a kind of weakness. I am weak if I have to rest. You're just mortal. You're a human body. So, yes, you're going to need to rest. It's just part of the plan, part of the program. It came with this package deal of having a body, right? So then rest, you're thinking about rest. Rest is a good thing. Rest is a good thing. Okay? Rest is a good thing. Why is rest a good thing? Wow, if I take time to replenish myself and rest, I'm going to then produce better work. I'm going to have better relationships. I'm going to have better outcomes. Yeah, so rest is a good thing. It's for my own good. I can be more effective when I also rest. Okay. Oh boy, that feels so much better. Now I feel like I have the golden ticket, green light, go ahead and rest. So I do this process for myself. This is something that helps me to make clarity of the chaos I'm feeling. So it's a joy for me to be able to do this too with other people as a life coach. I love doing this with clients. I love doing this in workshops and in settings. Here we go. This is my new book, Making Sense of Your Internal Experience. And look at that, right there is the whiteboard I just used. It's right here in this book. And so the workbook helps you to understand how to use this model. It helps you to understand your nervous system. Let me show you some of my graphics here. Pretty proud of my book because I know that it's going to be helpful to you. So when you understand your nervous system, what's going to create a feeling of safety in your body? Yay, look how well your bodily functions are going to just be humming along and healthy, and everything's good and you can rest and digest. But when you're in a state of danger and threat, when rest feels like a threat to you, you're going to be in fight, flight, freeze. The systems of your body are going to be taxed and work harder. And rest is just one example. But this workbook helps you to go through the process of using the diagram to figure out, what are you thinking? What is the thought process that's kind of at the beginning of all of this discomfort you're experiencing in your body? Because your brain is going to create a signal of either safety or danger into your body, and your muscles are going to tighten up or relax. You're going to respond in different ways. It's going to impact the way that you show up in the world. So this workbook helps you to explore, what are your values? What's really important to you? And then how are you going to make changes and to adjust your thinking so that you can have a new experience? The workbook helps you have all these opportunities to explore your thinking, explore your emotions, and understand how you are the leader of your life. You get to decide if you're going to stay there, if you're going to stay angry and in fight mode, or if you're going to guide yourself out of it and have a new way of expressing yourself and experiencing life. So at the back of the workbook, there's a whole section on, using a thought download. What are all the thoughts? I could go for 10 minutes about all the things I think about rest and have thought about rest that were not helpful to me. And then how is that showing up inside my life, my body, my brain, my nervous system? I'm going to use different techniques to regulate myself so that I can get back in control of myself and make better choices. I'm going to write or draw the ideal scenario right here. This is the gold that I'm going for. What kind of life do I want to have? What's it going to look like? And then I'm going to go back into this thought cycle diagram, just like I did here, and maybe start with the result I'd rather have and work backwards to find that thought, that powerful mindset that is going to help you to best live your life. Have that 15-year future self say, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you for making those adjustments. I'm proud of you for learning from, maybe unhealthy ways that you had just done out of just habit or reaction or just this emotional response. But now you're going to be in your thinking part of your brain. You're going to take action from the best part of you. I'll put the link to the workbook in the comments or in the description for the video, because I want you to have this opportunity to find peace, to reclaim yourself, honor your body, love your agency that you have, that it drives you to choose for yourself, choose the life that you really want, choose the way you want to treat your body and show up in the world. Because I always love to say, your body is not the enemy. If your body's feeling tired and depleted, that's not the problem. It's not your body that's the problem. Your body is your friend and your guide and your alert system and showing you how you need to adjust. And as you make those adjustments and honor your body, you're going to feel better. You're going to live better. You're going to think better. Your resilience increases. And your body is that gift. Your body is that tool, that vessel that helps you to know what you need to do differently so that you can enjoy life better and have stronger relationships. So that's all I want to share today, but I will also put a link in the comments to the book that I was talking from, called Sacred Rest by Dr. Saundra Dalton-Smith, about 7 types of rest so that you can, what does it say? Recover your life, renew your energy, and restore your sanity. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again next week.